Every single second of your life, your body is performing this incredible, high-stakes balancing act just to keep you alive. Seriously, it's a constant, unseen battle fought on multiple fronts. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the two master systems that make it all possible.
So, what is this war I'm talking about? Well, on one front, you've got an internal enemy, the constant production of toxic waste from the very chemical reactions that give you energy. And on the other front, you're facing a chaotic external world with temperatures and resources that are always changing. The real challenge is, how do you manage all that lethal internal gunk while keeping everything inside you perfectly stable?
Let's start with that internal enemy. How does the body handle its own toxic trash? This is where our first system comes in, the dedicated cleanup crew we call excretion.
Now, let's get specific, because excretion isn't just about, getting rid of things. It's about actively removing the toxic waste products of metabolism, things like urea and carbon dioxide, which would literally poison us from the inside out if we just let them build up.
So where does all this toxic waste even come from? Well, a major source is protein. Proteins get broken down into amino acids, which are fantastic for building and repairing our bodies. But, and this is a big but, your body can't store extra amino acids. Any that are left over have to be dealt with, and fast.
And where does that happen? Right here, in the liver. Your liver acts like this incredibly sophisticated chemical processing plant. It takes those excess amino acids and performs a process called deamination. Basically, it strips off the toxic nitrogen-containing part and cleverly converts it into a much more manageable compound called urea. The rest of the amino acid, that just gets turned into carbohydrates for energy. Pretty smart, right?
Okay, so the liver has done its job, the immediate danger is gone, and the urea is now just floating around in the blood. But we still need to get it out of the body for good, so how do we do that?
Well, let's meet the undisputed champions of blood filtration, the kidneys. These two bean-shaped organs are the final stop for metabolic waste like urea. They are absolute marvels of biological engineering. Just wait.
To give you an idea of the sheer scale of their work, get this number. Every single day, your kidneys filter about 180 liters of fluid from your blood. That's enough to fill a large bathtub. But hold on a second. You definitely don't produce 180 liters of urine a day. So what on earth is going on?
This is the real kicker. Out of that massive 180 liters they filter, you only actually excrete about 1.5 liters of urine. This is what I like to call the 99% rule. Your kidneys are so incredibly efficient that they reclaim over 99% of the water they filter, putting it right back into your blood where it belongs. And this isn't just some neat party trick. It's an absolute evolutionary necessity. Without this 99% reabsorption, we would suffer from lethal dehydration in minutes. It's why, even when you feel thirsty, which is your body's alarm bell for low water levels, your kidneys are already working overtime to save every last drop. This incredible efficiency is what allowed our ancestors to walk away from the water and live on land.
So how do they pull off this amazing feat? Well, the secret lies in millions of microscopic filtering units inside each kidney called nephrons. As you can see here, each nephron uses a really clever two-step process to separate the waste from all the good stuff.
Step 1 is basically brute force. Blood enters this tangled knot of capillaries called the glomerulus under super high pressure, which literally squeezes all the small stuff, water, urea, glucose, salts, out into the nephron tubule. Step 2 is much more delicate and precise. As that liquid flows through the tubule, the body selectively reabsorbs everything it wants to keep, leaving only the waste and a little bit of water behind.
All right, so we've cleaned out all the internal trash. That's one front of the war dealt with. But what about that other front, the chaotic external world? Well, that brings us to our second master system, the body's intelligent control center, homeostasis. Homeostasis is all about stability. See, your body's enzymes are incredibly picky. They only work within a very, very narrow range of temperature, pH, and water levels. The job of homeostasis is to keep that internal environment perfectly steady no matter what's happening outside. A perfect example of this is blood glucose control. Your brain needs a constant, steady supply of glucose for energy. To keep this level just right, the body uses something called a negative feedback loop. Think of it like a thermostat in your house. When things get too high, a system kicks in to bring it down, and when it gets too low, another system kicks in to bring it back up. It's this constant balancing act to stay at that perfect set point.
And it's not just one switch, it's a dual-action control system. After you eat a meal, when your blood sugar spikes, the pancreas releases insulin. Insulin tells the liver to grab that excess glucose and store it.
But if you haven't eaten in a while and your blood sugar is low, the pancreas releases a different hormone, glucagon, which tells the liver, hey, release some of that stored glucose. It's this beautiful push and pull system.
Another critical thing to control is body temperature, which needs to stay right around 37 degrees Celsius. Your body's thermostat is a tiny part of the brain called the hypothalamus, and it uses your skin as this incredible high-tech interface to manage heat with the outside world.
When you're too hot, arterioles near the skin widen. That's called vasodilation, allowing more blood to flow to the surface and radiate heat away. And of course, you sweat. When you're cold, those same arterioles clamp down and get narrow. That's vasoconstriction, to keep all your warm blood deep in your core. And your hairs stand on end to try and trap a little insulating layer of air.
Now, these systems are incredibly tough, but what happens when this delicate balance gets disrupted? What happens when the control center can't send the right signals anymore?
Well, let's look at type 1 diabetes. In this case, the cells in the pancreas that make insulin are damaged. So without insulin, the body can't tell the liver to store glucose after a meal. The result, as you can see right here on the graph, is that blood glucose levels just spike to dangerously high levels and they stay there. It's a powerful real-world example of what happens when homeostasis fails.
So, we've looked at the cleanup crew, excretion, and the control center, homeostasis. And it might seem like they're two totally separate jobs, but in reality, they are deeply fundamentally connected.
This slide sums it up perfectly. Think about the kidneys again. Their main excretory job is to remove urea, taking out the trash. But by controlling how much water is reabsorbed, they also play a massive role in homeostasis by maintaining the body's water balance. One system cleans the environment, the other keeps that environment stable. They're truly two sides of the very same coin.
Okay, now that you've seen how these amazing systems work together to perform this incredible balancing act, let's put that knowledge to the test.
Here are some typical questions you might see on an O-level exam. Where is urea produced? What's the definition of homeostasis? After this explainer, you know these answers cold. You're totally equipped to break these processes down. So, ready for more?
If you enjoyed breaking down this topic, and you want to master more concepts just like this, make sure to subscribe to Spotwork Learning on YouTube and give this video a like. We have more explainers coming your way very soon, so stay tuned.